3, 2, 1, go. Welcome to Grounds After Rounds.
3, 2. Brad already did it for us.
Did he do it? Yeah, he did.
It for us. Got a baby coming.
That's right.
Sarah, she's like ready to pop, I think.
Oh man, well, she's only like this big, so and he's like it's only about this big and this wide.
Yeah.
So yeah, baby's gonna show up.
But I saw either Nick sent me a picture or so of him in the back seat, putting the car seat in the back of the Toyota.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's I remember the first time putting that car seat in and thinking like, oh my god, I can't even do this right.
What did we have? We had a Ford Escape and a Nissan Sentra. Nicole had she had a Nissan Sentra that she left in storage or left with her parents when she came over to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we came back, when we had Andrew, we were in UND school. And so she got pregnant right before we left Japan, came to EOD school. And so we had Andrew about 2/3 of the way through EOD school in Florida. Right. But I had an old Geo Tracker that was my sister's, my sister Becky's.
That's awesome.
And so like my dad's deal was, if you can get it, it's in a lot at the airport in Atlanta. So if you can get it to Florida, it's yours.
That's awesome.
You know, and he's like, I'm not gonna do anything with it. And so I was like, done. So we found it in the lot, drove it. It lasted
8 miles.
Yeah, I made it like maybe 3 months, 4 months. And I
thought you were going to say it made it halfway.
No, it made it all the way to Florida, but it was already running rough.
Yeah.
And so all I had to do was I had to drive like almost the same distance to here. I had to drive out of my development to a right, to a left, through a gate, and then like a mile up this road to the schoolhouse there in Eglin, Florida, in Eglin Air Force Base. It started to like I could not add enough oil. Yeah. Like it just was not. And so it started to like rumble. And so we looked, and Ford had a deal where if you could get the car to the lot, they would give you $1,000, regardless of the state of the vehicle. They would give you $1,000 off of a new anything. So Escape was perfect.
It's money in the washer for you.
Yeah. And I was like, dude, I almost didn't make it. It was like 15 miles up this road to Route 10 to Highway 10 from there. And like, there was one last hill that you then come down and take a right into and around this bend and then pull into the the dealership. I almost I'm not kidding. I almost opened the door and was like skateboarding, skateboarding the Geo up the hill to make it down. Oh my God. Pull in. It's smoking.
Is this pre-CrossFit? Because would you have just pushed it if you had to?
Yeah, it was way before CrossFit. Yeah. This is 2000.
No, it's a Geo Tracker. I think a 7-year-old could probably push this.
Very true. But this was January, February of 2004.
Right.
Because we needed a car because Andrew's coming. And so I get up there and it's in their lot, like pulled in sort of in a spot, sort of not, and it's smoking. And I was like, I have an appointment with, I forget the guy's name, and I'm like, for my car, and
trust me, it's back there. Let's go and just fill out this paperwork.
Well, and I printed it out. I had the deal. It's like, you guys said doesn't matter, and they're like, we don't care.
It's not over parts.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like,
we're basically a chop shop at this point.
So I got a Ford Escape. It was great.
Oh, that's cool.
So I remember putting 2 seats. We've had to put one in the Sentra and one in the Escape for Andrew.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Oh.
And so then Nicole drove that Escape for a while. When we get to California, she upgraded to because then we knew the twins were coming, so we needed a 3rd seat. We wanted a 3rd row seat, but we weren't ready for a minivan. So she got another Ford. It was now it's been what the Taurus has turned into, but it was different.
It was like a Fusion, and now it's.
I had it here when we first got here because that's the car we had in Hawaii. That became our roach ant car. That car was covered in roaches in Hawaii because you have a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old and 5-year-old and 2 3-year-olds who are eating goldfish and candies and rice cakes and
Yeah.
those little Cheerio thingy majobbers. And
They're not Cheerios, but they're basically
Yeah,
Cheerios.
yeah.
Pretty sure
And,
they're made in the same factory.
apparently roaches and ants like those things too. And when you live in Hawaii, there's lots of roaches and ants everywhere. Yeah, I remember one day.
It's funny, we have the roaches without Hawaii.
I remember opening the
Sucks.
door into that car one time, and I was just like, I can't put a child in that seat.
Yeah.
And they'll be eaten by all those bugs.
Oh,
So I had to clean that thing out because then we shipped that. So we got that near the tail end of California. Then we came back to Virginia, had the Sentra and the other Ford, got rid of the Sentra and we got rid of the Sentra while we were getting ready to leave for Hawaii.
okay.
So we just shipped the one car, had that there, came here, had the Ford, got another van. That's the first time we got a Chrysler Town and Country. That was our first one, and had that van forever till it fell apart. Got the Odyssey. I got the Fit when we ditched the other Ford,
Gotcha.
and that's the Fit that Andrew now
I remember when you
drives.
had, I remember you having a car.
It was
that
a
still had
blue station
Pennsylvania.
wagon. Oh, I had Pennsylvania plates forever.
You
I
had
mean,
those-
the Fit had Pennsylvania plates.
Because that's what I'm thinking. I don't remember
All of our cars had Pennsylvania plates.
until relative like last
Just
few years.
the 3 months after I retired. So just
Yeah, okay.
19, summer 19,
Yeah.
fall of 19, I transitioned over. When I transitioned my license, when we bought Nicole's Fit, that was the first car that we had Maryland plates on.
Gotcha.
And then when I transitioned the Fit over to Maryland, and then when we bought the Odyssey,
Andrew's
Andrew's
Fit.
now Fit.
Yeah.
When we bought the Odyssey, that had Maryland plates
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. You still love that Odyssey?
I do. It's a great car.
Yeah.
It's so simple, which is hilarious. So Josh, I don't know how we're talking about cars. It's a good to warm up, I guess. The twins are learning to drive. So Nicole drives them in her car into work, into school and stuff, every other, throughout the week. But he was going to drive the van the other day and he goes, "Ooh, I'm driving the bougie car."
Yeah.
And Nicole is just like looks at him with that, "Okay, whatever." And she tells me, she's like, "We must be doing something right if he thinks that car is
Right.
bougie." She's like, "We're keeping his standards real low."
Yeah, good. We're doing all right. We're doing all right.
Yeah, the Odyssey baseline, no
Man.
frills, is bougie.
But I tell you, Dak Shepard sold that Odyssey though, like it was.
He's a Pacifica. He's got the
that's
Chrysler
right.
Pacifica.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It's more like it's not a minivan, but it's not an SUV at the same time, sort of thing.
The Pacifica is nice.
Yeah.
It's actually, I think, what we're renting when we're going to the Isla Esmeralda in April.
Keys is Missouri.
Key
That's in Florida.
We're one of the
Okay.
Keys.
Oh,
It's
yeah, yeah,
one of
yeah.
the northern Keys. It's
Gotcha.
right after Key Largo,
Right.
before Marathon Key.
Yeah. Down there because you can find my car keys.
Boom.
Low hanging fruit.
Yeah,
Just gotta
that
go
was-
for it.
Just gotta
I'm not
cup
gonna
it,
make that hand
cup it
gesture.
and pull,
I'm not gonna
man.
make
Cup
that
it and
hand
pull.
gesture again. Just gonna get that for you. man.
Well, welcome to Cars. How were we talking about cars? Brad counted us in.
Baby.
Brad's got a baby coming.
Pregnant
Baby was in a
baby, car
picture.
seats.
Not the baby. Car seat was in a picture in the back of his Toyota, who is sponsoring Brad. He's sponsored by Toyota
Yeah.
as an athlete because Team Toyota, Team USA,
Right.
Team Brad. Go Brad.
Aren't Toyotas Japanese?
Oh, good point.
Yeah,
Maybe
they used to be called Datsuns.
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 I thought no.
Yeah, but
Hondas were
because
Datsun.
Toyota was originally, I think it was Toyota was originally Datsuns or Datsuns.
Oh.
But the never mind, there's a joke that goes with it, and I don't remember it. now.
Oh, is it racially insensitive?
Oh, it could be. I guess it could be. Maybe that's why I'm forgetting it.
That's good.
Moving on. No, anyway, moving on. I guess if you're sensitive. Yes, moving on. Hi. Welcome to Grounds After Rounds.
That was a good save. That was a good save.
Good,
Well done.
good,
Well done,
good
sir. Well done.
red-blooded American, coffee drinking, crossfitting,
Yes.
hair
sure.
growing, arm deodorant wearing.
So
Some days.
we should let our listeners know.
Yeah.
This is sort of like I think it was an Ellen DeGeneres skit or like a routine where she'd talk about M&Ms, and she loves peanut M&Ms, and she'd she'd take them and she'd chomp on them, blah, blah, blah. But it always would irritate her when she'd eat them out of a bag rather than a box, because she couldn't know that it was the last one. So she'd eat it and then she'd go in to the last one to thinking this the last one, and it wasn't there.
It's not there.
And she'd always go, oh, if I'd known that was the last one, I would have sucked on it longer. And that was sort of like,
People suck on M&Ms.
you don't. So like, I
No.
always think about like that sort of like you suck out all like off the shell, and then all you got left is like the chocolate, and then you kind of slowly bite it, and like you savor that last M&M.
No, that's called having control and willpower, which when it comes to like sweets, I have
You're like,
zero.
rip off the top.
Oh, are you kidding? I'm just like, here's the bag, and I'm just how about I this time?
Mouthful.
Suck on an M&M.
So
I
anyway,
barely even suck on lollipops. I'm like, I'm that owl from the Tootsie Pop, like
six licks.
done.
Done. So in that metaphoric context,
Yeah.
this is our last episode
Maybe-
of Grounds After Rounds.
Do we like tie in like the final countdown song, and then it's Brad saying it's the final countdown, and then it's Brad going 3, 2, 1, go.
That's a lot of work.
Just imagine it.
Just
Tell you what, before you go back, start this episode over, play the opening to final countdown, and as soon as it's the final countdown, immediately switch over and hit play on this. Boom.
There you go.
I just did the editing
Well
for
done.
you.
Well done.
Boom.
It's collaborative listening.
Yeah, it's true.
I like that.
That's exactly what it is.
Yes.
So,
So last episode,
yeah.
and it's been a good run, brother.
Yeah. And I don't
been
even
fun.
have coffee with me, which is like 97% of the episodes.
You're right.
I know, right? Like we called it Grounds After Rounds. It was like coffee for like
It was a
8
good.
episodes
It was
of-
a good catalyst for Allie to make.
an amazing design.
Yeah.
The kettlebell mug design.
This was awesome. I mean, we have our kettlebell mugs
Yeah.
over there that folk. Well,
Yeah.
I think that one's mine. You took yours home, right?
No, I think this one's mine. Mine was this. They gave me the smaller one because they didn't think I could lift as much as you. This might be yours.
Did one of them break then?
No, this is yours because mine did not have a big. This is yours.
Gotcha.
You can leave it here. This one is mine. though.
That's definitely yours. Who? Courtney Cox is on Smart List this week.
Oh.
Really good episode. I find her ridiculously enjoyable.
Yeah.
I think I wish
Like a summer morning.
she was. I don't follow her on Instagram, but apparently like she does all kinds of stuff on Instagram. Like she cooks, she plays piano. Like
I've seen her do the cooking.
I guess
thing,
I'm
yeah.
just not, I just don't follow her.
Yeah.
But I almost wish I wish I had been aware of how much more open she is about her life outside of Friends,
Yeah.
because she seems like a really enjoyable personality
Yeah.
who is down to earth and is willing to kind of like show like I'm not perfect, because I only get like a consumer of media. I only see a snapshot of her on whatever show she's doing or whatever.
Right.
I always found her a little bit like, I don't understand you. I don't get it. But she's has dated on and off, and is in a relationship with the lead singer of Snow Patrol, who I love.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And they were trying to do a British or Irish accent,
Yeah.
which sounded like the Lucky Charms accent. And
Of
then
course.
they're like, she's like, that's not what he sounds like, because he's actually from Northern Ireland, and it's a much like guttural more. And then they try it again, and she's like, that was better, but can we stop now?
It's like Paul Rudd trying to do a Jamaican accent that sounded Irish.
Yeah.
Slapping the bass, man.
Hilarious episode.
Yeah.
Super funny. So anyway, Friends, Courtney Cox, a lot of non sequiturs today.
Yeah, nonsense. Well, yeah, well, let's get into it, because I think this is again, I was like reminiscing. I forgot this was our last. I thought we had one more after this. So like I said, this was just very like, if I use the word correctly, serendipitous.
Yes.
This was the idea I had.
Which fits,
Um,
man. It fits.
Yeah,
Right.
I think so.
Yeah.
So yeah, just kind of like, and this can be, I was looking at this as thought of like, whether you're a new CrossFitter or maybe your current CrossFitter, and this is a good way to kind of like take a step back and figure out your why, essentially.
Yes.
And so the first question I had was like, let's say, again, you're starting your CrossFit career, or you've been doing it for a while. Why CrossFit?
So it's a great question. Do you want me to jump in first?
Yeah,
I mean,
please.
You got to ask
Yeah.
the question.
Yeah.
I think back to when I first formally like started coaching at an affiliate that wasn't, just a haphazard, like, anything goes. And it was CrossFit Annapolis, DRT, Dale Ryan Thompson, who now is the owner and manager, whatever of CrossFit BWI.
CrossFit Bowie.
Yeah, no,
Bowie.
BWI. He would not be happy about that, because I think there is a CrossFit Bowie. Maybe
I don't think there's like
nothing in Bowie.
Getting to PG County, I don't think there's much CrossFit in the Bowie area.
But anyway, he said it's really easy because it's a selling point, right? So it's time, access, know what to do. That's it, right? I don't have the time, no problem. 60 minutes, you can find 60 minutes. Access, I don't have the equipment. I don't know where I would get the equipment. When I go to the gym, like, there's no equipment, no problem. We got everything you need here. And then really what the selling is, I just don't know what to do. I just want somebody to tell me what to do. It's always so confusing. Should I do tris and bis? Should I do backs and legs? Should I do
butts and guts?
This high intensity interval thing? Like, how long should my interval be? I read on Men's Health that I should only work out for 20 seconds.
It's better than boot camp.
Yeah, like what? So no problem. We've done it for you. It will be a coach-led warm up. And so, because I've been thinking about this, if I'm not coming here as much in the coming months, like, do I just want to keep following main site? Like, will I, probably won't have access to the class plans, because I looked at that too. You have to be an affiliate if you want CAP.
So we have this great, it's called Off the Creek program.
Right. So I'm like, okay, well, do I really want to spend any money on something? No, because I'm a cheap SOB.
Frugal,
but
frugal.
If
you've got plans in the future,
if I did spend money on something, would I actually follow it? And then the answer is no.
Right.
All I want, why would I do CrossFit if I've been doing this for so long? Is I want the catalyst of an idea to keep me honest and not let me fall back to my innate biases.
Right.
But I also don't want something that's going to make me have to do a bunch of stuff that I don't want to do, because I know my compliance will fall off quickly.
Right.
So I want to have the flexibility to add in EMOMs as I want to, do a lot of body weight stuff, do some rows, do whatever. And so it's called main site.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so for me, the time thing, 60 minutes or less. Like, I know if I can get it done in 60 minutes or less, no problem. I have access. I'm good to go there. Figured that out a long time ago. I know what I need, know what I like, got it. And now I don't know what to do. CrossFit.com, follow 1 week behind. That would be my selling point to somebody. Why CrossFit? Because it's plug and play.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are, what you are, how far along you are, how to shape you are, what you used to be, what you want to be, whatever it is. It's called infinitely scalable.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it'll fit for you. Just show the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
And it's simple. Like, it's sorry, let me cut
That's
you
it.
off.
No, I'm done.
Yeah, just
when I swear, usually I'm done.
Yeah, like, it was getting to listening to I think it was Ackerman and Fern's most recent.
Yeah, CrossFit's not broken.
CrossFit's not broken.
Just not.
Like, stop.
Like
don't be mad that you didn't come up with it. Like, so stop taking this thing
Stop trying to
that
reinvent.
already works and reinvent it and tweak it to make it more yours. Stop. It's the thing. It's what it is. I love it. He brought up, he's like, does the Post-it note need improving? Not really.
No.
They still come up with like ones that with lines on it, and
Right,
ones that are
right.
like teeny tiny, and some that are ginormous, and some that are like reusable.
Which in the end, the 2x2
Yeah.
yellow Post-it note is it.
It's all you need.
Because even the smaller one is too small.
Yeah.
I've
used this as a bookmark at the most.
Yeah, but the 2x2 standard Post-it note size.
Yeah.
Like, you can't there's nothing to improve on that.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
New gym name, CrossFit Post-it note. That's all you need.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But that's
and everyone works out in 2x2 squares.
That'd be great. That I don't think there's another answer of why. For me, from my perspective, that is as simple as it is.
Yeah.
Like, it can serve anyone. Where I think there ends up being disconnect is, well, I don't like any of that. And then my answer would be like, okay, but that's not the program.
Yeah.
Like that's not the program's fault. That's not like there is nothing to fix with spaghetti. Do you know what I mean? Like spaghetti with meat sauce is spaghetti with meat sauce. It's noodles, it's a tomato-based sauce, and you put some meat in it, right? Like, I get it. And then there are like a billion people that could go like, well, I like, this type of oregano, but you got to make sure you brown the meat in this olive oil. And but I got my grandmother's secret.
Have you ever been to Olive Garden?
Okay, it's like pizza. It's like any of these things. Like, it's categorical. Sure, tweak it, fix it, do what you want to it. I make sure, like, I make my noodles from scratch. Like, awesome, like, good to go. It's fucking spaghetti.
It all comes right back to
right. Like, that's it. It's spaghetti.
Yeah.
You might not like spaghetti. Okay.
My sister-in-law doesn't.
Sure. Like, there's nothing wrong with you. And there's like, I can't make it fit you if you don't like spaghetti.
Yeah.
Like, in the end, you have to say, well, I'm going to need and so let's say
is this where you're getting where CrossFit, anyone can have spaghetti.
Yes.
But spaghetti's not for everyone.
And then there's also the difference between a CrossFit affiliate that models itself on primarily does group classes. And a group class is anywhere between 6 to 12, 8 to 12, maybe as many as 15, but a small to medium-sized group class run by a single coach. That's the model that Fairwinds has adopted for the last couple of years and will adopt, I imagine, into the future, right? Like,
I've been down that bigger class road before. No, thank you.
I'm a restaurant that serves spaghetti and cannolis, right? We do meat sauce. You can get sausage or meatballs. Added. Yeah. But it's spaghetti bolognese, right? Is that the that's the one bolognese? That's with the meat. So that means it's a meat sauce. Like, and I can add meatballs or I can add sausage. Can I get chicken? No, we don't have chicken. Oh, well, I went to this one restaurant and they had chicken with their spaghetti and it was great. Awesome. You should probably go to that restaurant. Yeah, like, not here. We do meatballs and sausage. You can have meatballs and sausage. Is it pork sausage or it's sausage? I don't know what to tell you.
You want me to see how it's made?
Right? Can you put my sauce on the side? No. Right? Like, I can give you a large portion or a small portion. That's it. It's scalable in that. Do you want it cold or hot? I can even do cold or hot, right? Because I've got some in the fridge. It's waiting to be heated up. I'll get you some of that, right? Like, I'll meet you somewhere. But at some point, I think what you're asking for is a personal chef. Yes. And you know what? They're hireable. Go get yourself a personal chef.
Yeah.
But we do spaghetti with a meat sauce with sausage or meatballs. Yeah. And you can have a cannoli for dessert. Does the cannoli have chocolate chips? No. Can I get a chocolate cannoli? No, we don't do chocolate cannolis. I could go get some chocolate sauce.
Can you do holy cannolis?
Oh, I don't know what a holy cannoli is. What's a holy cannoli?
I think Chris Farley said it once.
Right? Like, so you see my analogy, what we're doing here.
Yep.
At some point, the limitation becomes, when we say infinitely scalable, we're talking theoretically, right? Like, at some point, like, there requires some sort of collaboration.
At some point, I need you to meet me. Like, I'm willing to come this way a little bit, but I need you to make the equal effort.
And that would be the other part of why you do CrossFit is you should think of your CrossFit coach almost like God, I just lost it. Thinking and talking hard at the same time. But we could almost work ourselves. We should almost work ourselves out of a job, right? Like, at some point, you don't stay with the same teacher, professor, whatever, educator your entire life.
Yeah.
You graduate, you move on to something else, to somebody else, because at some point, like, you can't learn anything more from the other person.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna eventually, like, if you become in sync, you're no longer challenging each other and there's nothing happening anymore.
Yeah.
Or you're just not learning.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, well, then you need somebody else, because that's just stagnation.
Yeah.
So I would say that why CrossFit is because it offers an athlete an opportunity to take ownership of their own movement and their own health and their own wellness moving into a different new phase of their life. And if they don't, then again, I would offer it might not be the right program for you, because you need to become invested in it yourself. You need to look at the workouts before you show up. You need to be thinking like, I want to work on this for the next 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, and have that conversation with the coach, or else it just becomes open your mouth, little baby bird, and let me shove the information down. Well, that worked for a while, but at some point,
I need to spread those wings. I think it was I was doing some affiliate U stuff, and they asked me, like, it was a question of like, why do you coach? And one of them, one of the things was, I love being the center of attention, but only for like a minute. Like, I want to be able to I want to be able to lead you to where you need to go, and then at some point, I want you to not need me as much, but I want you to not need me as much, but still want more. So like that, I want to be able to
that's really good.
Thank you.
You should write that down.
I did write it down.
Good job. That's really good.
So it's like,
that's like the beginning of a personal mission statement. Good.
That's but that's what it is. It's like, we should be able to coach ourselves out of a job. But be curious, all right, I've helped you kind of get to this place where now you kind of have an idea of where you want to go with it, but there's still stuff to figure out along the way. So it's always this, here's this, kind of keep coming back. And it is this little infinity figure eight where it's just this constant, it's this relationship where you are constantly meeting each other where you're at while always continuing to grow. And so it's
and when you emailed me about twilighting this, initially I was a little disappointed, because I was like, oh, I thought you'd keep it going, continue it. But you said it, and then you immediately followed it up with another sentence of, because I feel like it served its purpose for what we did. Why did we do this? You coached the afternoons, I coached the mornings. You and I talked, but we realized that there was a whole community. We didn't want it to become the morning people and the afternoon people. And so it was our bridge to connect with the entire community that was quickly growing. And I was like, oh, that's great. And it, and it was also, the other byproduct was it gave us an excuse to talk about things in CrossFit to possibly prep for the level 3 test. We both just decided we didn't want to take that test. Okay, I don't care.
As I put them, I was like, I'm going to take that at some point.
Someday,
but it's
I don't know, maybe.
But at the same point, it's our outlet. This is our chance to connect too.
And it served its
connected
purpose.
us from day one.
And so I totally agree. And so the sentence that you wrote immediately after that was, because I know that I will find other shorter form ways to connect with the athletes. And if it's just me now, I need to figure out what that looks like for me. And I was like, any sort of disappointment I felt immediately turned into oh, that totally makes sense. That's so smart, because this served its purpose. You don't just keep doing something because that's what you've always done. You do something because it continues to serve a need and be of service to the thing that it is developing, or that it's making better. And I was like, that was really freaking smart. So that's 2 for 2, man.
Well, that's one of those those are 5 years ago, those are probably not, I think I would have just kept doing the thing that worked because that's what I was used to. And so that's part of this relationship has been very much there's so much you have always been asking questions, being curious, figure out what's on the other side of that. Is that where you want to go? Is there something else? And it's that growth mindset that you've hammered home from a long time. But it's also not being afraid to I was like, I feel like I should keep this thing going, but it's just me by myself, and I could constantly try to find guests. But it's this is not my strength. Us together has been it's just this gym has been.
It served both of us for what it was needed to do. And then I was like, there was no sadness after that, because I was like, that's a great point. And I mean, it has been really great to the point where I'm thinking I'm brainstorming personally, what I want to do, if I want to keep in this medium, I think I do.
Yeah.
I just need to figure out what that looks like.
Yeah.
But also like the blog posts, I'm
Mhm.
done with the blog posts. Like
Yeah.
that was my last post
Yeah.
on that forum because it's not my blog anymore. Like that's not my medium anymore.
Yeah.
So I actually started an account on Medium.
Oh, awesome.
And
Yeah.
I don't know what, like, so everything
What
has
is
been
it? Yeah.
right. Thoughts and musings about like things I find that connect back to CrossFit. So I like that model and I like this model, but maybe there's Drew is great about, he never does anything just for the thing itself, which we could dig into, psychoanalyze, like that might be problematic. Like in the end, some things should just be for the things themselves.
Right.
Like if everything is simply to serve a utility, where does that end?
Yeah.
Like how, like Hannah Arendt, a philosopher, talks about it, and it's not a good ending. In the end, it's just, because
in the end, there's not an end.
Right. Like, so
ending.
people just become a
Drones.
utility. Yeah. Utility. Yeah. Like it dehumanizes everything,
right,
which is not good. So sometimes things should just be for themselves.
Right.
That's not to say Drew is, anyway, I like Drew's philosophy of
yeah, true.
everything
therapist.
He likes to have like, there should be secondary, tertiary, like unintended benefits
right.
of things that you're doing. And it's a great, like, so for him, exploring SpaceX really just started because he was looking at a Tesla, but over time it's like he's gotten into very nerding out about, because it all started like they launched satellites. So will they be putting their satellites on SpaceX rockets? And if so, like, does he know anything about Tesla? And it's like, so all of his free time nerding out has actually gotten him very smart on a possible platform that will serve his work.
Yeah.
Right. So it's sort of like it's the genius of Drew.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I'm thinking like, okay, if I want a medium, what medium should serve perhaps other things that I'm doing, and it becomes complementary rather than interference.
Yeah.
Comes back to CrossFit. CrossFit should be complementary to other things in your life. So if you're asking yourself why to do it, well, to do it so that you feel better, which can drive, I just am exhausted all the time.
Yeah.
But then you're going too hard in the gym.
Yeah.
Have a lot more like the next 3 weeks, folks, trust me, the intensity of Friday will easily give you enough stimulus that you could go easy Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, kill yourself on Friday, take Saturday and Sunday off.
Yeah.
Because Monday is going to be hard again if you're redoing it, or if you're not, it's still just going to be an intense, like emotionally intense day. So for the next 3 weeks, like, don't feel bad about a day like today's workout, Monday's workout, the rowing and dubs, 70%, 75%.
And that's totally where the week is programmed as such to keep it all down. But
they're pretty smart.
They know what they're doing.
Programmers. Yeah. Warm up with super simple.
I'm excited because we assume they know what the open workout is.
Yeah.
So like, I'm really interested to see.
They said they don't, but they do.
They know. I'm really excited to see when the open workout comes out and be like, because it's going to be this guessing game. It's like, all right, we saw this week.
Right now.
And then the open came Friday and we didn't see that this week. So now people are going to play like process of elimination.
Well, that happens anyway. And the ones that are good at it usually are within 60 to 70% accuracy.
Yeah.
Because there's 11 movements that show up in the open consistently.
They're going to show up.
And of those 11, 7 have been in every single one. So yeah.
Every once in a while, there's one that like you just didn't see coming
Wall
anyway.
walks.
Who was it? I was watching. Did you watch that Mayhem that little documentary they put out? What was it called?
No, I'm intrigued.
It was cool. This
is the week though. This is the time of year where like I try to catch up on
everyone starts throwing out all the
buttery bros go back and like catch up on like.
So I forget the guy's name, Scott Van Newt or something like that. But they made like, you can watch it on YouTube.
Okay.
But I think it's called Undisputed. Yeah, it's an hour long Undisputed, the story of Mayhem's 2021 teams run or whatever. One of the dudes was like, I'm really good at handstand push-ups. I'm really good at handstand walks. I suck at handstand or the wall walks because they ate me up. And he's like, I don't understand. He's like, so the wall walk is kind of like an in between. Yeah. But it's just like he sucked at him.
That's so funny. Like why? Like what was different about it that made it so much harder?
Yeah. So,
I think probably because he wasn't breathing.
Would be
so
my
guess
easy.
if I were,
that makes sense. Anyway,
So that
but
so
but that totally ties in like where I was going. Like, what does success even look like?
there you go.
And
Like, how do
so-
I measure it? I mean, you can measure it with your logs,
Right.
Like, great. But many
You
of
did.
us, once you turn, I would say 35, and if you've been doing this for any amount of time and you continue to age, which
That's kind of what
nature of the
happens.
game, PRs are still in your future, but they become less and less likely. And that's okay, because you just have to redefine what a PR means.
Yeah.
Like, PR your air squat hold. PR your air squat hold without any rounding in your back.
Yeah.
PR your hollow rock positioning, right? Like there's so many things you could PR.
And that's it. And where like PR becomes this like, it doesn't have to be this black and white, like success or failure.
Yeah.
Which is really just kind of this like imaginary thing that
I
we're
PR'd
told is like
I PR'd Kelly, but with a bike, because I just don't want to run and feel my knees like, a bag of glass in there, broken glass afterwards and stuff. So it's like, there's so many ways to redefine and move the goalpost as success. But like, so Luis today asked, he was walking out, like, are you excited about the Open? And the reality is I am. I'm actually, I've never felt so unstressed about the Open.
cool.
Ever. And this is my first year in the 45 age group.
Yeah.
Like, I could be like, oh my God, I care, but I want to be in top 10% with somebody was just talking about this, another podcaster about, I was Justin Berg when he was on Best Hour.
Best Hour.
The creation of that top 10% delineation was genius. Shorten the Open by 2 weeks, lower the entry of you get to make it to the next stage. They just created such top 200 was really hard.
Yeah.
Like nobody's making,
especially as the field continues to grow.
grow. Top 10% stays the same level, but it gets harder and easier depending on how many people. As more people get in, it gets easier to make. More people will make top 10%.
Right.
But as more people get in, the caliber of athlete gets better too. So there's this like constant ebb and flow.
Yeah.
That it's
really
cool. It's a great number because it's representative of the spirit of the Open as the first stage in the process of finding the fittest man, woman, and team in the world. Great. So it's just hard enough, but it is still relatively inclusive that a part-timer, somebody who's just wants to look at this as like their athletic competition, and competition is something that makes them excited. It is a realistic boundary. It's a realistic measure that, like, to make it, it's going to be hard, but it's not impossible.
Yeah.
So for me as an athlete, an hour to an hour and 15 minutes a day, 5 to 7 times a week, with sort of paying attention to food and sort of paying attention to lifestyle and behavior.
At least that 80%.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I still make it top 10% one time on Fridays? I'm going to give it a go and see how it goes. Now, I leave myself always an out if it's just like 21.3 or 21.3 and 21.4 was a complete shit show the first time. I tried it. I said, I'm doing this one again. Or else what last year's was leave no doubts. It was my goal last year. I wanted to walk away leaving no doubt that I gave my best effort. This year, it's no expectations. I just want to see how things play out. That for me as an athlete, my movement practice of CrossFit, that's the measure I use that it is working. Because it keeps me compliant. I continue to improve, and I continue to tell people this would be very useful for you or not. Or some, right? Like I still am a big proponent of it. If I stop telling people, I really don't think you should do CrossFit, then I'd be like, oh, interesting. If I don't continue to see improvement in, oh, that's interesting. And if it's just like, I'm just not doing anything, then I would say CrossFit isn't working anymore. Right? Like, or maybe
something you're
something.
doing.
Yeah, exactly. But that's my my personal always 3-step measurement of, right, voluntary compliance. Which you get improved better. You can't shut up about it, and you keep bringing people.
Which is like your 3-step too from the even going back to the why from your, what was it, accessibility, time, and
I just don't know what to do.
And don't know what to do. Like,
yeah.
I think that's most people's, like, they don't know how to define it in those 3 things, which like
that was
clarifies
DRTs.
for everyone. Yeah,
which he stole, I think, from OPEX, or from.
Which he probably got from Ben Bergeron.
No, it was pre-Bergeron, but it was.
Bergeron created all of it.
It was one of the original. It was one of the original business mentor
Ben, you're great.
companies out there.
You're listening.
He does. He always listens on Fridays. Friday afternoons. It's his drive home. We're his drive home podcast.
Thanks, Ben. How you been?
Oh, that's good. But and everybody, I think, so that's also part of the process.
Yeah.
And that's actually something I personally, professionally would continue. That's something I will keep working on, is rather than tell somebody what should be their measure of success. That's a great first question. Like, okay, so tell me, in 3 months, how are you going to know this is working? You tell me, what will you be able to look at, so that, what do you want me to hold you accountable to? How do you want me to hold you accountable to be able to say this is working? So we got to define, how will you know this is working? Work on that. Tell me that. And then, how do you want to be held accountable to make sure that happens?
Yeah.
What do you want to be held accountable to make sure that happens?
And that's literally like goes right into the next, like the opposite, like what is the obstacle that will keep you from getting that, or from getting there? And
what's your wall of awful?
Yeah.
That, in answering that question, that will probably be identified.
Yep.
But they might not know that at first either.
Yeah.
Right. So, but if we always
it's hard, especially when you're like first getting in, you're like super motivated, you're excited, and you're like, I jumped through foundations, I got my free t-shirt, not free t-shirt, but I got my t-shirt. And like,
something's free.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so if it's the free t-shirt,
right.
You
Some
pay.
people's credit card doesn't go through and then ghosts me. That's free for them, but whatever.
Not angry about that one.
But yeah, and that's because you're gonna hit something somewhere. I mean, how long have you been doing this? You hit these walls.
Yeah, 2009. Been at this since 2009.
So what's the thing that, like, would you say, like, holds you accountable right now? Like, what's the thing that, like, when things start to slip a little bit?
I feel it in
just the way
my emotion. No, I mean, I am very in tune with my body. Like, I know, and I didn't show Luis. I wanted to show him. Did I send this to you? So had COVID, step it back. Last week was fine. The week before, so Monday I felt a little off. Just like, I think I'm getting a cold. Dang it, because the whole family had flipping colds.
Yeah,
and like I did not. And then I was like,
boogers everywhere.
Yeah, and then I was like, okay, I do kind of feel it. So I took a test Tuesday, was negative. Still felt off Wednesday into Thursday. I felt really.
You took that turn.
I felt bad, and so I finished coaching the class. Took the test like Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, and it was positive.
Yeah.
Thursday night into Friday day was awful, like absolutely horrible. By Friday at 2, turned and started to feel a little bit better. Was popping some Advil and then some NyQuil and stuff, like just like basic cold flu medicine stuff to kind of feel better.
Take the fever down.
And then by Sunday, I was off all that stuff because I wanted to give myself, you're supposed to be 24 hours fever free. Monday took another test, was negative. Tuesday took another test, was negative, was good to go.
Yeah.
I tracked my Garmin. I went back and I looked at my HRV, has heart rate variability, which is a manifested in Garmin by stress. It's manifested in Whoop by something else. But basically all of these wearables take your data and then proprietarily turn it with some algorithm into some sort of readable information. Yeah. So Garmin it's your stress is basically to function of your HRV.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And so I was looking at it and it's a little orange line. So the readout Monday was normal, right? Sleep, it's all blue, had some good sleep. Tuesday, there was like a little bit of more blue. Wednesday, the blue was, orange. Wednesday, the orange was like really kind of thick in spots.
Is that where your strain's going up or your stress?
You
going
can
up?
see,
Okay.
yeah. So on Thursday, about midday Thursday, it is just wall of orange.
Huh.
All night Thursday night, it is all orange. And your body battery, which is your recovery, usually it goes up across the night. Mine continued to go down all through Thursday night into Friday.
Wow.
At about 2:30 on Friday day, that wall of orange breaks.
So you had to cancel your dentist appointment?
I don't know what that means.
It's 2:30.
2:30. Oh,
Sorry, that's
funny.
I can't.
I
can never let that one go. I'm sorry.
You
That's
have
like I have to every time I hear
2:30.
2:30.
That's a requirement. You'll get called by the dad joke police.
100%. All right, sorry, I don't know. Go ahead.
2:30 on Friday, came back, and it was never like that again.
Huh.
So you could almost, like, if I was,
You almost see when it left your body, essentially.
almost like,
Yeah.
and by Monday I tested negative.
Yeah.
And I tested on Sunday, and it was like a faint. It was a fainter line. So anyway,
Sure.
I wrote a couple people about it. I sent a couple people pictures of it that would also, with Drew, I sent, it would appreciate my nerding out, and Andy and Joan, and like I showed Nicole, and I was like, look at this, it's so cool. My takeaway on it is I know how I feel. This gave me quantitative data to correlate to how I feel.
Yeah.
At some point,
validating.
at some point, these technologies are going to be so precise that it will probably be able to give a pretty high percentage of accuracy.
Oh, you're going to get like a ping that says in 15 minutes, you'll need to pee.
To even
Like,
people who are not in tune with their body.
Yeah.
Because basically we are 80% of us fall inside the bell curve, and there will always be outliers on either side. Well, I just don't. Sure. Right. Like, I'm sure, but statistically speaking, there's a reason Tylenol works. Do you know what I mean? Like, because it's the 80%, I forget the term for this, the do no harm value on medicines, right? Like that, like, because we're all built relatively the same with multiple variations, but in the end,
From like you need to take 400 milligrams, you only need 200 milligrams.
But like these things, they're getting enough data points, billions and billions of data points across these wearables that exactly, like, if you've signed up for it, you've had the chip inserted, subcutaneously, just over your left, nipple or something, like to register your heart rate, like, at like, and it, it's been calibrated. You've been into the, the calibration facility, and right? You will get a boing on your, wearable contact that like gives you your screen. There is a 92% chance that you have been infected by the rhinovirus. You should seek comfort, take fluids, take this antiviral swab, and then like you've signed up, so it'll show up through your refrigerator. It'll be like 3D printed, and you take your little like flush, and it will tamp the thing. You know what I mean?
Great,
like,
and terrifying at the same time.
Right? Like, totally.
Like it's
absolutely
man,
terrifying.
Wouldn't that be amazing for people's health? But also, isn't that terrifying for people?
Yes,
that's
100%. But like that. But like that's what I saw in my head. Like, I was like, wow, this. And again, I knew where to look.
Yeah. I
know what my general like tendency readout looks like. I'm able to, and it's N equals 1. But I'd be curious if how much that's very similar for folks as let's bring it back to CrossFit. This showed me both lead and lag indicator on something that was coming, some a virus that was coming, and then I had symptoms. CrossFit is a lead lag sort of methodology. Like, so how will I know that this is working or not working? How will I get through when there's an obstacle?
Minus a wearable, essentially.
Right.
Yeah.
It's you could gauge it off your emotional response. You could get your lag is you're showing improvement, right? Like, I see the numbers improving over time. Pain is a lag indicator. Yeah, man, I don't know what I did yesterday, but my shoulder is freaking hurting. Lag indicator. You did something, and after it occurred, you got a symptom or some sort of indicator that you did it incorrectly. CrossFit, when coached by a proficient professional, is a lead indicator, meaning you're squatting like crap. You're rounding your back, your knees are going in, you're up on your toes, and you go, yeah, this really hurts my knees when I squat to this depth. Like, okay, cool. Stop. Here's what I want you to do. I'm going to take you through a by the number squat, and I want you to keep going. If you feel any pain, go ahead and stop. So they go around the back. How's it? Stop. Cool. Arch your back, chest up, drive your knees out, keep going deeper. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And stand up. Did that hurt? No, that never hurt. Your movement is your lead indicator. You're moving well, you didn't have any pain. You moved badly, you had pain.
A lot of pain.
Your movement is this is Kelly Starrett's. Your movement is a lead indicator.
Gotcha.
These are getting close to being
Lead
indicators. That's transformative of health. And if we take that methodology with CrossFit, being excited to come to the workout is a behavioral, emotional lead indicator. Looking at it and going like, oh, this is going to be hard. That is not a bad thing.
Yeah,
it should be hard. It
Yeah.
should be challenging.
Yeah.
If you're kind of like, I'm interested to see how this can go, it's a lead indicator. If every day you show up here, you are miserable and leaving is the thing that makes you happy, that should be a lead indicator that maybe there's something wrong. Because now what's happening is I'm offloading the responsibility to introspectively say, this is what I like about it. Unless in that process of introspection, you have found I'm only happy if I'm unhappy. If you're the type of person that's only happy when they're unhappy, okay. Like,
It's like half social media.
yeah, play that. Like it's,
Yeah.
I've golfed since I was 3 years old with my dad. There's nothing I'm sure I could spend an entire year fixing and getting rid of my slice, but I'm not going to put in the time. So when I go golfing 1 or 2 times a year, guess what I do?
Slice it.
I play my slice.
Yeah.
When I line up, I'm like, there are people that are like, dude, you are going to hit that ball into the next tee. I'm like, no, I won't. Don't worry. I hit it. They're like, that was amazing. I'm like, it's not amazing.
I know my faults.
Yeah, it's completely horrible, but I don't spend enough time to fix it, and I'm never going to spend enough time.
It's like
to
your
fix
initial
it.
feeling was right.
Yeah.
But don't worry.
Yeah.
I got it.
So if you know that you're the type of person that X or fill it, then play the slice.
Play the slice.
It's okay, but don't do it blindly. That's the thing I would say of that what is going to be your obstacle? Your obstacle is going to be whatever you're not looking at or looking to explore about yourself is going to show up.
Yeah.
CrossFit is going to uncover it,
Mhm.
be it emotional, behavioral, social, physical, whatever it is, it's coming.
Yep.
Because we fail at the margins of our experience. Not mine, Greg
made that up, right?
Glassman's. That our weakness is our failure point, and our failure happens at the margins of our exposure, margins of our experience, margins of our whatever. And if it's the thing that you're not spending any time looking at, guess what? It's going to be the first movement in the open.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because it's instantly a objective, outside generated test. And serendipitously, it's like they know. They've been waiting for you.
I'm really glad you've been working on those ring muscle ups for a year.
Yeah.
Handstand walks.
Yeah. Like, and now they're not going to show up.
Right.
It's like, so that would be a physical manifestation of it, but it could be an emotional, it could be a psychosocial, it could be whatever. That I think is the benefit or the opportunity that CrossFit offers, that I can't think of what your obstacle is going to be. And I don't think most people can, but the second it shows up, you've got an opportunity to explore it if you want to.
Address it,
Yeah.
explore it.
Yeah.
Work through it.
In a place where you're expected to fail.
Yeah.
Like, actually, I want you to fail as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Because we just identified your next challenge, your next thing to work on.
I love it with the thrusters last week. That exact experience was, I think it was Sarah, who She was in her last set of
She's- I'm gonna
thrusters.
miss her.
She's awesome. She's awesome. She
Anyway.
anyway, I'm trying to talk her to go get her L1. I was like, I think you would really enjoy it.
She would be a good,
Wouldn't she?
yeah.
Wouldn't
Even if
she?
just from a knowledge
Oh,
bomb,
she
she would love
wants
it.
she wants all the
Yeah,
information.
yeah.
She's great.
Anyway.
Anyway, so she I think she was in her 6th set and she went for let's say she had 80 pounds of
3 thrusters.
right.
Who programs 3? It's so hard.
I'll take heavy thrusters over a lot of light fast thrusters. That's
But
ridiculous.
man, they were so that 3 of them. Like first one was always like, all right, cool. Second one, it's that third one.
I did it. I took them off the floor.
I know.
did it off the
You had
floor.
everybody do it off the floor, which I like. I like that.
No,
you mixed it up.
I gave people. So I told people, it's like, you take it out of the rack. I was like, if you want an electric challenge, take it off the floor. So like, I think Shannon took them off the floor.
Gotcha. Yeah.
When I did it. So when Alex
I love that you
came,
gave
I
people
did
an
it.
opportunity.
Yeah, I was
to
like, why not?
choose.
It's
yeah,
fine.
totally.
But it was so much harder than I expected. Like my 3 was like my 3. Now, granted, like my wrist was like just eating me up, so I lightened it up to
Yeah.
like clean up that movement. But it was so much heavier than I even expected it to be. But anyway, back to Sarah. She was at like, let's say her 1 rep max thruster she's recorded is 90 pounds.
Okay.
Her 6th set, she was going for 80 for 3.
Okay.
She got 2, and the third one went up, and then like arm drop and bail.
Yeah.
I was like, you're really close. I was like, and she's like, should I back off? I was like, let's give it another go. Like, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
You got 2. Let's see. Same thing again.
Yeah,
The one arm
yeah,
sank.
yeah.
She just couldn't finish out the press
Yeah.
on the third one,
Early
right?
press.
And she was like down on herself because she's like,
quarter extremity violation.
right, a little bit of, but she's, you know, and
Yeah,
and
totally.
she's such a good mover. Like
Yes.
she'll find it.
She is.
But she was like kind of bummed for a second. She's like, you know, my 1 rep max is 90 and like I only got 80. And I was just like, hey, you just did like 90% of your
Your one
max
rep.
almost 3
3
times, twice. So I was like, you just found like your endpoint, like you, like, sure, you failed, but now you just found like what your end
Yeah.
range of strength is right
Yeah.
now. We come back that 6 month, that number, I bet you keep showing up, that number is going to be history.
Yeah.
So it's like barring any, you know,
And
catastrophe.
that's
So
a great,
it's,
that's a great programmed workout where that is not a no missed lifts day.
Yeah.
That is a let's get heavy and maybe miss a lift or 2.
yeah,
Because I want to see what is the edge of what is the margin of your experience
yeah.
and test it.
Because that
Play
was,
with it.
and that was her, like, it was a miss, not because it was too heavy, because technique faltered, especially when she got to that
Uh-huh.
third one.
But it
So-
it was too heavy for where her mechanics can
Exactly.
consistently be. So loading challenged her capacity
Mhm.
at that point.
Yep.
So yes, it's quote unquote too heavy to make the lift. It's not too heavy as a training stimulus.
Right.
Because she didn't get hurt. She was safe in her
Yep.
ability to bail.
Yeah,
And you still did 2 of them twice.
yeah. Like,
At 90+%. It was like
Right.
91.2.
And that's where and this is where you're so good at like taking the math and nerding. It's like, if she's this tall and she weighs this much and she moved this way,
I don't know that
this is
much,
like
but it's
X
just-
amount of like square,
yeah.
but this is like a, the foot pounds per
Oh,
square,
yeah,
blah, 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 blah.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
this is how much weight you just moved over the course of like
right.
20 minutes.
Right. So a 1 rep
So-
max is so unrepresentative of
Yeah.
consistent improvement, which again, CrossFit can serve as a functional metaphor for the rest of your life
Yeah.
around, okay, like that's a great point. Whatever failure you're going through, whatever obstacle you're facing, can you zoom out on it, pick a new plane, and look at it objectively from a different perspective? Now all of a sudden you're like, oh, actually, that's not a failure. That's just a really great opportunity to stop doing something a certain way and do
Yeah.
it a different way.
Learning
Wow.
experience.
Yeah, like, wow.
Yeah.
And if you practice that an hour a day, 4 to 6 times a week with some really good friends and in a really safe environment,
Yeah.
might you actually learn something in a different domain of your life?
I submit that you will.
Possibly, because I'm practicing that growth mindset. I'm practicing being a more patient, being a more competitive, being a less competitive, being a whatever version of you facilitates a complementary ancillary benefit somewhere else in your life. Well, I think that's
It's a measure of
worth
success.
I think that's worth your time outside of the physical health improvements that look, I don't think we need to have that conversation ever again.
Yeah.
Unless you're Jillian, Mike Jillian Michaels, is that or whatever,
Sure.
or
Yeah.
somebody else, you know, like that's actually what I think Fern and Ackerman did a really good job of, is like, look, I don't need to debate whether it works or not. Like, it works, it's done,
That's
right?
the
Like
thing.
that, there's enough data points. Poorly executed, it still works.
Yeah. Yeah. Still
Like,
makes
so it's
mistakes.
so in that's the point. But what do I get out of it? Well, that would be when I said earlier, part of our job should be working ourselves out of a job. Only if at some point in the process or the trajectory, somebody says, hey, look, this just isn't working for me anymore. Great. It's not a forever breakup. It's a go. I hope what you've learned from here serves you in your next endeavor. And along that path, if you determine I need to come back because I want to work on this again.
Yeah.
It'll still be there waiting for you. Thrusters and burpees and pull-ups and handstand walks and kettlebell swings and box jumps and rowing and all the things.
They go nowhere.
Double unders, they're all still going to be waiting for you.
Yep.
So come on back when you want to.
Yep.
And that's the part of the fear I feel like some people have of, I mean, what if so-and-so leaves, or what if they, like, great.
Yeah.
I hope they go, and I hope they take what they've learned and they freaking blossom and do awesome stuff.
Yeah.
And when they're ready, if ever, they come back if they want.
Yeah.
Or not. Because maybe I won't be here.
They may find another place that gives them what it is. that they need.
Totally. Like that's
one of those.
that is the thing of, like, there's such that fear around, I have to keep holding on to this. That's actually what my last post was about, is that monkey, that's the metaphor of, are you holding on to that banana at the expense? If you haven't read it, there's an old parable of, they used to catch monkeys, and you could fill in whatever tropical environment where monkeys live and come down off trees or whatever. And so the zookeeper would put a coconut hollowed out in the base of a tree, chained to the tree, and put a banana in the coconut. And the hole in the coconut was just big enough for the monkey to put its hand in.
Right.
But then once it grabs the banana, it can't pull its hand back out. And so the monkey, comes down the tree, oh, banana, puts the hand in, and then the zookeeper comes around with her cage and locks the whole thing up, unlocks the coconut from the tree, throws the monkey into the back of the truck, and takes the monkey to the zoo. And then, the monkey gets to spend the rest of its life being laughed at and poked and prodded and have gum thrown at it. But hey, at least it gets a bunch of free bananas.
So
right?
stop throwing gum at the monkeys. Stop doing that, Jeff.
Because it's going to throw poo back at you.
Yeah. Or attack you like it did at the zoo that one day.
Me or you?
No, me.
You got attacked by a monkey?
Yeah. This was on a podcast Monday when at the zoo, it was like tapping on, like, so there's the big, it's big enclosure, and then there's the big glass window, and then
I do remember this. Was it a
And it was
gorilla
like-
or a monkey, or like a
It
chimp?
was a chimp. It was a chimpanzee, but it was like one of the old,
Yeah.
obviously angry ones. And it was like knocking on the, it was standing in front of me, knocking on like the rail or whatever. And I was like, oh, and I knocked back, and it reared back and went, whoa, and like jumped and like hit the glass. Like had Fee standing next to me. I was like, holy crap. Like that monkey, like that glass wasn't there. I'm dead.
Yeah.
But Fee said something later about me making the monkey angry. I was like, but people were looking at me like, why would you knock on the glass? I was like, it was like, I thought it was trying to communicate. Like it was knocking on the thing. I thought it was like, hey, let's play a game, less hairy version of me. And like, not super less hairy, but close enough. And like, oh man.
You're sweating remembering it.
That was like,
It's scary.
Oh my, it's like, and you see its teeth, and it's like, and it just, I mean, it was so fast.
It gives you,
like,
yeah.
it springs off the ground
Like how
so
quickly
fast.
how we are not the apex predator.
No.
By no means.
No.
Anyway, so that, I think, long answer to your question. I don't even remember the obstacle. Like, how would you identify it? And, like I said, the better we are at asking the question earlier of, how will you know that this is being success, that you are getting anything out of this? What is that going to look like for you? And then what do you need me and how do you want to be held accountable to reach that goal? That's the two questions I think, when done in tandem, give an opportunity for somebody to really introspectively explore that. Because otherwise, what the hell are you doing?
No.
Yeah. Anyway,
Not CrossFit.
well, you might still be doing
Yeah,
CrossFit.
hopefully, yeah.
I mean, but it's you could get the same bang for your buck at a lot lower buck point.
Mm-hmm.
I think the real magic happens when you stop just looking at it as it's just thrusters and burpees.
Yeah.
Like it is just thrusters and burpees.
There's a reason there's a bazillion affiliates in the world.
Right.
Like,
I mean, in the end, it is just thrusters and burpees.
Yeah.
But then again, it's just dinner. It's just, I mean, I could throw, it's just in front of, it's just work.
It's just
right?
my pants.
Yeah. It's just whatever.
Yeah.
But again, zoom or, follow that trajectory long enough. It's just life.
Yeah.
It's just living.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need that. Right. So, I mean, zoom out far enough on a geological scale. I mean, it's just the next 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, but zoom even further out, we don't exist in the grand scheme of, the length of the life of the earth. We are but a blip on its surface. And when it's ready to shrug us off, all of these concerns we've had of that guy cut me off, or I don't want to wear a mask, or
30 rope climbs for time on Saturday.
Okay. In 150 years, you don't exist. Who cares? Nobody cares. So if you want to do the rope climbs, come do the rope climbs.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do the rope climbs because you think it's stupid, well, you're dumb.
I didn't say it. I was thinking it.
Yeah. But no, John and I were talking about it.
Yeah.
I looked at that workout and I went I actually didn't say, oh, this is dumb. What I said was, ooh, I could see how somebody would say, see, this is what's wrong with CrossFit. 30 rope climbs for time. That's such a dumb workout. Yeah. It's okay, slow your roll, take a breath, try it. Mm-hmm. Both of us, he and I, 7 minute. It was to a T. We both at the 7 minute mark fell apart.
John O'Neill.
Yeah. Because we were talking about it this morning.
He said as soon as he had to start doing a third pull.
And it was almost the exact, and I'm like, how fascinating. Yeah. And then right about the 10 minute mark, I had to remember a better way. My body had to remember a better way to come down the rope. And so it was oh, but you don't get there without going through the first 20 plus, or the first 18
I could see in
plus
John
climbs.
when he got when he started having to do that third pull, the times he was able to get a little extra to get his legs up a little bit higher to wrap was the difference.
Yeah.
And that extra pull.
It's so, and so it was, but that you have to do it. And so it's the genius in the programming is how simple it is.
Well, and even in that, from look at it on the surface of 30, and we won't go down this whole rabbit hole of why warm-ups are important, but the warm-up, they did so between so the 3 rounds of the warm-up.
Yeah.
There were 10 single arm ring rows each arm.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Right.
Then there
so
were
you're practicing that lat activation.
And then a pull, right?
Yeah.
A strict pull, essentially. Then there were 20 ring rows in the warm-up. And then there were 10 strict pull-ups in the warm-up. So over the course of the warm-up, you just did essentially 40 pull-ups, right? How many people in this gym are itching for that first pull-up? And so and then you have the 30 rope climbs, which is another essentially 10 to 15 minutes
ancillary benefits.
Look how much pulling work you got in over the course of an hour. That every single person that came to that class is that needle moved a good amount
towards their first
that first pull-up.
So if you're the person that's I've been working, I want my first pull-up, you missed an opportunity.
It was a really good opportunity.
You want to feel a little, maybe for you getting over the obstacle of whatever is, how do I instill a sense of FOMO on the days when I don't want to come? How do I get there? Well, like that. It's a mindset of oh, well, if I know I'm seeing this, it says 4 by 800 meter runs. I don't want to do that. Guess what? There'll probably be something in the warm up that is going to move you closer towards something else because they're not idiots. They know how to program.
What else was in the warm up? The downward dog push-ups, and then the plank, the high plank to low plank, and then intermittent push-ups. So you got 40 pull-ups and 40 push-ups in over the course of a day. And hey, what workout's showing up in about 2 to 3 months? It has a lot of pull-ups and push-ups too.
So it's funny
like,
you're saying
look at there's
I've been wondering if we're gonna see like Cindy.
Right.
In
Like coming
open.
up in the next
In the open.
Cindy.
Like a sort of benchmark pull push squat, all body weight, super scalable, super accessible, or if it's like a dumbbell Cindy. So it's like
it's a dumbbell snatch,
like chest to bar, like something that is a 5, 10, 15, 20-minute AMRAP, and it's like handstand push-up, or like an dumbbell overhead squat and like chest to bar pull,
which just showed up in programming a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. So like like
at a lighter weight,
at 50s and 35s. I bet.
Was it 50-35 for the?
I don't remember.
Well, it doesn't matter.
But like, so looking at both the warm-ups that are in CAP, looking at what's been on main site, like because I've been doing a bunch of Andy about 6 months ago was like, start putting Cindy into your warm-ups or something, and it just to work on pulling. And so I did I actually think I do a lot of EMOMs if left to my own devices in the warm-ups, just because I don't want to start. I'm tired. That's good. And so an EMOM gets me moving, and it builds in a monostructural, a weightlifting, a gymnastics, and a rest, mobility.
Just get you moving.
Anyway, the idea being, as you just so artfully described, trust the process. And part of why you're coming to the classes, and part of why you chose to do CrossFit as your movement practice, is because you don't know what to do. So let that bag go and stop controlling it, and let the warm-up work. Let the skill work. Let the workout work. Even if it's like not something you want to do, it's okay. It's 10 minutes. It's 15 minutes of an hour, if you show up on time, that you can then have the other 45 minutes that it is things you want to do. Or if it's half and half, but there was nothing in the warm-up, but you like stretching and you like talking with your friends. Well, you got to do that for 30 minutes. There you go.
I mean, like the workout, that workout Saturday was essentially 15 minutes, give or take. But it was 60 minutes of movement.
Yes. And so that would be, if anything, you asked the question when we decided I'm walking away. What does this podcast serve? How did it serve? And how do we measure it? Well, we did 200. This is number 4, 205. We did 205 episodes, 5 solid years, four years. Because you said January 2018 was our first. So just over 4 years. We probably missed 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe.
I think we started off like a bi-weekly thing, and then it was
was it?
I think we started off like,
I thought we were almost ever. I thought we were weekly.
We moved it to weekly pretty quick.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but it was something like that.
So consistency, we had no idea how to do this. We basically have almost the exact same equipment we started with, despite a couple feedbacks from the standard grumpy listeners. I can think of, remember Tony's when we recorded it when the garage had the ping pong table in it, but it was in transition, and it was super like echoey or whatever. And I think it's so ironic too. I love him. He's awesome. Like, what I love about is that he gave feedback.
Oh, he'll give you feedback.
You guys need a microphone. It sounded like crap. When we had him on and he did it in his truck, his sound was the worst.
I can't break it up.
I'm like, dude, move somewhere with a better signal. Like, that was the longest edit because I had to go through and edit out all his feedback. It was, so the whole time I'm laughing.
It's like, hey, this critique isn't for me, it's for you.
I freaking loved it. Like, I loved that, like the irony of his episode.
You need feedback.
It was so anyway. But like, so we were always curious of like, how does this work? But like, what made the guests the best is when we would get somebody on, we'd always learn something new about them. And like I remember a transformative when we first had CA on, and I cut it off, because she was starting to go down telling some of her history of her eating disorder and her own struggle with it and stuff. And I was like, because I was like,
discomfort.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that kind of stuff. I'm like, and I got called out on it. I'm like, that's true.
Yeah.
Had her back on, and it was like, hey, look, we're gonna put our money where our mouth is. Like,
You should put money in your mouth.
true, because this girl, I mean,
Yeah.
how many people have touched that, especially COVID? I mean, come on,
And
dude.
strippers.
It was
Strippers?
herpes?
Strippers?
What?
Strippers? Is that hair?
So
Thank God.
I love that it has modeled or given us a forum and a medium to model
Yeah.
what this whole thing has been about.
Mhm.
And I think it was in line with it. You immediately asked all those questions. Will I be consistent? No, because it won't be as much fun anymore. And you have an opportunity to be as consistent, as curious, and as courageous in another forum, which will be of service to both you and the community in a different way. And I thought that, like I said, made me so happy, and I was super impressed. And I'll dovetail this. You were my gratitude as soon as you did that, buddy. Like, I was like,
I'm glad.
because I really was. I was like, oh, but what was I really sad about? Right. So if I'm exploring that emotion, like, was it disappointment? Was it sadness? Was it like feeling a failure? Like, God, I can't even believe in it. All of that was like, I didn't know. And you made all of that disappear.
Good.
And this sense of like pride and like almost not jealousy, but like a little bit of FOMO, but also excitement of like, oh yeah, because I know what you can produce. And I was like, oh, he's gonna crush it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and so it was sort of that. And I was like, that was a little like weird and probably like to get out of your own head a little bit, but also like a really cool like process and journey to explore and see.
I used to feel better because when I first said, I was like, I think this is the right call, but I guess I made the call, so figure it out. And it's
again, and there are no right or wrong calls. There are just the next best choice. And that's you made for right now, for you, the next best choice. And if it doesn't work, guess what? Make the next one. Like, it's good. Like, I hope you fail. If you're gonna fail, I hope you fail super fast. And you like, because you will recognize it and be like, nope, that ain't gonna work. I think of you the newsletter, right? Like, what an amazing example of the same thing. Like this form, nope. Didn't like right? Like, didn't like it. Nope. Like, just kept trying. Nailed it. Right? Like, you thought you got it. And you still are, I see it. You tweak it.
Tweak,
but hey, it happens. And that's like,
it's becoming less time consuming. I feel like it's getting better by being less time consuming at the same time.
And it serves its freaking purpose. Yeah, man.
Well, mine too. Like, I'm so excited we started this, because again, it was essentially this way to like start talking, like bridge that gap, and then talk more about CrossFit. And like, there's so much I've learned just from sitting here. Like Jack just goes, and like, and there's plenty of times I walked out here, I was like, did I talk? I think I talked. Did I talk? No, but it's like, but that's always been, but there's always been this like, almost like unspoken understanding of like, that's the dynamic, almost like everything we've done from day one. It's like, there's this dynamic that we've had from day one that like, it's sometimes it's been spoken and sometimes it's not, but it's always found this like, like
pick me up when it's over.
It's times like I write down there, like, I'm going to bring this up and I bet I can get Jack to talk for 20 minutes without blinking. So anyway,
well played, sir. Well played.
So this made, and like for the first, this, I'm not saying there will never be a podcast at the gym again, but hey, we ain't going anywhere. Like, again, if you look back in the world.
Well, the thing is, there's anybody want to start a podcast, right? Like, you've got the account. It's not like, I don't even know how much Anchor costs. Like, you've got the
still charging us.
I don't even know, right? Like, I seriously, I should probably find that somewhere on QuickBooks. But you and Fairwinds has the platform if there is somebody that wants to do something. Right. So that's the cool part of the invitation is always there. If somebody's been thinking like, oh, it would be really cool if, hey, you have permission to act on that.
You get like carte blanche to like, hey, just, Whatever you do, just be consistent,
Yeah.
right?
Like that's the part where, and so I throw that challenge out to somebody. This ref at last night's game, we have a couple parents that are on Matt's hockey team, a little
In
aggressive.
competitive sports for kids and teenagers.
So the ref is like, the ref was struggling and he lost it at the parent. And he was just like, look, dude, here's the deal. Get a pair of skates. I got a whistle for you. You can wear my jersey. Otherwise, get the fuck out of the stadium.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And I was just like, the guy's not wrong. Like, seriously, like they make you learn it as a plebe. The man in the arena is this Theodore Roosevelt's speech, the idea of like, hey, it's great yelling from the cheap seats. Otherwise, put your money where your mouth is. And again, don't put money in your mouth, but like, give it a shot and see. And again, if you fail and you don't like it, cool. I'm just, if somebody was to say like, oh, but I'd really like that. I'm just, cool.
Let's give it a go.
Give it a go. Try it out.
Yeah. Ain't afraid to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
It's been a fun ride, brother.
Yeah, man. Rounds after rounds. I think we reviewed like 4 coffees.
Fairwinds and following seeds.
Heck yeah. Awesome.
But yet you and I,
Yeah.
For a little bit, we'll still see them and each other.
Yeah. On the creek. Boom.